Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of my promising practice integrating Streamlabs OBS into your classroom to create digital content to support your students. By now, you should have seen my promising practice presentation, an exemplar of how I use it in my classroom, and even some videos about how to install Streamlabs and some additional resources. I did want to make a video of how to actually create scenes inside of Streamlabs and utilize them once you have Streamlabs installed. So this is actually the scene I've been using throughout my presentations. It has my video camera, it's got a webcam, it's got a background, I have the Streamlabs QR code to go get the download, and I have a title. So I'm going to show you in this video how I actually put all this together. So I'll be right back. I'm going to switch scene collections. That way I can start fresh. All right, so in this is a whole new scene collection, and what I'm showing you right now is Streamlabs OBS. So I'm going to go over a few of the things first. Down here in the bottom left, this is your scene collection. So mine is called YouTube Testing. If I want to add an additional scene, I just click the plus sign, and maybe this will be maybe a demonstration scene that I can do. So it's a completely blank screen. And then I can go back up here to scene, and I can even right click and rename this, and this is my YouTube demonstration where I'm showing y'all how to use it. So I have two different scenes here, but basically within each scene you have a list of sources. So inside of my YouTube demonstration scene, I currently have a Streamlabs display. And this is a display capture. So anything that appears on this monitor will show up here. For instance, I have Tinkercad open. If I drag it over, you can now see that it's also in the recording. All right, so this allows you to record your whole display, but there's also another one called a window capture, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. All right, over here on the right side, this is just your mixer for all your audio. As you can see, my mic's jumping because it's reading me talking. You can have a webcam mic. Maybe you want to play some audio off an introduction, something like that. You can adjust all the sounds here. You can even pull up Spotify and play music in the background, and it'll show up under your desktop audio. All right, so I'm just going to show you how to add sources to your scene. So remember, we're on my YouTube demonstration scene, and I'm going to click the plus sign here. So here are all the different sources that I can add. By this point, you've been used to seeing me talk, so I'm going to go ahead and add a video capture device. I'm going to name it Logitech C920 because that's the webcam I'm using. And then you'll see as soon as I've done that, here I am again. I actually use a software called XSplit VCam. It's about $8 a month if you want to subscribe to that. Kind of the power of it, it allows me to blur my background, so that way my students don't necessarily have to look at everything that's behind me that's a distraction. And it allows you to add your own watermark. You'll see my Mr. Smitty logo over here. So basically these are just my settings. So I want to make sure, I like to use 16 by 9, so I'm going to switch my frames per second and resolution to custom, and I'm just going to make sure I use a 16 by 9, which 1280 by 720 is, and all the rest for the most part, you can play with these as you're learning, looks good. So now I actually have, if I pull this down, you can see in my preview here that my webcam is part of my scene. So maybe I'll just place myself up here in the top right. So you can do a lot of different things. I like to add webcam borders. It just adds a little color, makes it a little more engaging for my students. So I can click that plus sign. All right, again, we're in our sources, and I'm adding a source to my scene. So I'm going to add an image. And I have a lot of webcam borders that I have just downloaded off the internet. You could do a quick search. So I just make sure if your camera is a 16 by 9, your border is a 16 by 9. So I'm going to use red. I went to UGA, go Dogs. Red and black is kind of my go-to colors. So I can just add this webcam on top of this webcam border on top of my webcam. So just like that, I now have three sources. I have a webcam border, I have my camera, and I also have my display capture of my entire monitor. Earlier I showed you all that Tinkercad, so maybe I want to pull that in somehow. So if I click on the plus sign, I can do a window capture where it will just capture a singular window. And I'm going to call this Tinkercad and add that. So what it does is it looks for all the different windows you have open. So I have Streamlabs open, I have a settings menu, which is this right here, and I have Google Chrome. So I am going to switch to Chrome, and now you'll see that it has added this. You know, I could go in here and maybe put it in the corner. Go ahead and pull up one of my schematics. Once it loads in, pull up one of my schematics for one of the projects my students are doing. Let's see if I can refresh that. All right, and you know, I can pull it up big here while I'm talking, move it around, point to it with my finger. You know, just it allows you a lot of flexibility of what all you want to show your students. I think y'all even saw, you know, I have other images like Arduino. I have the Arduino logo while I'm teaching electronics. I might add that as a source and place it somewhere. So it is in one of my folders. So I just go find that, Arduino with no background. So I can add that maybe down here, move this around. I know it's not very organized, but I'm just trying to show you that you can add a lot of things into these scenes. So maybe this scene's done and I like this scene, but I want a scene that, you know, shows something different. So I can go down here to demonstration and I can add, you know, other scenes here. Again, maybe I want to add a different website or pictures, schematics. I know in my video y'all saw me. I added the schematics of my students' projects. So I could have an entire scene that is just this, or my students' schematics, entire scene of just this schematic. So what's nice is once you have your scenes created, you can just kind of quickly, you know, go between them and really talk about all the different things you want all in one video without ever having to do any editing on the back end. So that's just a brief introduction to Streamlabs OBS. I'm going to go ahead and actually make myself bigger, and then I'm going to use the eyeballs to turn everything else off. All right, so brief introduction to Streamlabs OBS and how to add scenes and then add sources to those scenes. There is a lot of material out there because, again, this is primarily used for video gaming. So a lot of YouTubers and content creators have created videos, and that's pretty much how I've learned. So it has worked for my classroom, you know, just as a support for students. I strongly encourage everybody just to try it out, see if it works for them. All right, thank you.